Welcome back, VIP members. This is the bonus episode of episode 13, 1986. Jim, you still with me?
Love it.
Great. Now I promised that I would do this, so here we go. We're going back, and we are going to spotlight kind of the what might have been. I've got the wrestler from December of 86, Ric Flair with the big gold. Remember, the 10 pounds of gold is now moved out of the way, and the big gold is now on the scene. And Magnum TA here with the United States title, kind of the next guy in line. Now, Jim, on the episode before I brought you on, I talked about a feud these guys had in Baltimore, and the promos that they cut on each other were so phenomenal. I'm going to go back and watch them. But what's your memories of Magnum TA and just kind of that journey to kind of the everyman's man going up against Ric Flair, the styling and profiling?
You know, today I have tremendous respect for Magnum TA, the performer, and Magnum TA, the man that we have today who's put his life back together and succeeded under extremely difficult circumstances after his terrible crash. But back then, as a kid, I bought into the myth that Ric Flair was the greatest.
Absolutely.
And while I was impressed that Magnum TA was able to beat Wahoo McDaniel and hold the North American title in the Mid-South territory, in my mind, he had not established himself well enough to be a credible enough competitor to take the title from Ric Flair. I thought it'd be a good match. I thought it was exciting, but in my mind, he wasn't quite ready yet for that world title, and I didn't expect him to take the title from Ric Flair. But if you believe history and you believe the interviews, matter of fact, I interviewed Magnum at the Charlotte Fan Fest about a year and a half ago, and he said the plan was for him to win the world title. So as a kid, I would have been proven wrong. Yeah,
I was there for that interview, by the way, Jim, and it was fantastic. Now, I remember I met Flair summer of 87 for the first time in a Rose's department store in Raleigh, North Carolina. And at the time, I'm in line. I'm a kid. I'm probably 13 years old at the time. And my younger brother, Reggie, was with me. And it was one of those things where I really wanted to ask Rick something. And so by the time I got to the front, Rick had his sunglasses on and had his suit on. He was the whole deal. And I said, could you beat Hulk Hogan? And he pulled the sunglasses down and kind of looked up over the top of them and gave me the look. Never said a word, gave me the look and put his sunglasses back on and signed the picture for me. Now, Ric Flair, to me, is and was the greatest of all time. Hogan, fantastic. But in that era, we're talking 85, 86, 87. I know PWI gave him Wrestler of the Year 3 years in a row during that time frame. But, growing up, Pacific Northwest, Ric Flair, what an impact, what an influence he had on us, Jim.
He would come through the territory. As a matter of fact, speaking of the Pacific Northwest, the last ever world title match that Ric Flair had as a traveling NWA champion was in the Pacific Northwest, where he took on David Sierra. You probably know him as the Cuban Assassin.
Oh, yeah.
He was a masked good guy called Top Gun. He was the late 80s, but he was called Top Gun, and Flair made a run through the territory, I want to say in late 88, and that was the last tour that Flair ever did as the touring world champion through the Northwest. But, coming through, Ric Flair, obviously, in real life, was very good friends with Roddy Piper. Piper was Flair's best man at his second wedding. And so Piper, left the Northwest, went to Crockett. He and Flair became good friends. And so from time to time, Piper made his home in Oregon. He lived outside of Portland in Hillsboro. So Piper would come back home, wrestle for Don Owen a little bit, take a break from Crockett so he could see his family, do whatever. And so oftentimes Flair would come back with Piper or meet Piper here, and they would do a series of matches through the territory. So that was pretty great. I got to one of the biggest thrills of my young childhood was Flair came to my hometown and wrestled Billy Jack. And I had a front row ticket, and it just so happened that my ticket was the last row of the front row, and I was right next to the timekeeper who had the Dome Globe belt.
Oh, yeah.
Right there on the table. So I don't remember too much of the match because I was too busy staring at the belt, to be honest. But I mean, that was a big thrill. So, you know, Flair would come through. There was even a time where he played the good guy and cut an interview on Portland television where he was going to wrestle perennial Northwest bad guy Playboy Buddy Rose.
Oh, yeah.
So Flair even put on the white hat briefly when he came through Portland. But he wrestled Brett Wayne Sawyer when Brett was wrestling here as Hack Sawyer. He wrestled, you know, a number of different challengers in the 80s when he came through.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's funny you talked about Piper, and Piper's actually on this mag, and it says, "Warning to Hulk Hogan: if you trust Rowdy Roddy, you'll pay the piper." And so that's great. I mean, Piper, obviously, I remember him as a kid in Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling when he came through and had the black strap United States title. And so and just went nuts. I mean, he had the Mid-Atlantic title. I mean, he was just ahead of his time, really, when you talk about cutting promos and just the antics. You know, a lot of people, the new age fan now kind of looks at a Dean Ambrose or even those in, 15, 20 years ago, flying Brian Pillman but Roddy, I mean, this guy was ahead of his time.
It's completely different. I mean,
absolutely.
Roddy Piper would always say, "No one told me how to get from A to Z." He's Canadian, you know. Yeah. And and that's really the difference. I mean, Dean Ambrose is a great talent. I take nothing away from him, but he's just in a different environment where he has to do scripted promos. Sure. You know, for example, where Dean Ambrose flourishes with scripted promos, Roddy Piper, as we saw during his later years, couldn't do scripted promos, but he was great. You know, oftentimes, you know, just being off of the cuff. And, you know, Piper obviously, you know, was very loyal to Don Owen. He never wrestled in the WWF against Don Owen. And you mentioned when he was U.S. champion, Roddy Piper came back to Portland when he was U.S. champion and wore the title belt, that United States map belt that you're talking about, to Portland, which was really, really cool as a kid who saw the magazines and saw that title in the magazines, and to see it come and make an appearance in Portland was really awesome. Absolutely.
No doubt about it. All right, we're going to wrap here. Jim, thanks again for coming on this week. And Wrestler Weekly Presents episode 13, 1986. And Jim, in episode, the actual episode, Jim talked about all the things and places and people that he's talking to and doing at this point in time. You can follow Wrestler Weekly on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and follow us at WrestlerWeekly.com for all of your information going back to old school classic ways. You can support the show by going to ProWrestlingTees.com and buying and picking up a t-shirt to come to an event. Matter of fact, this week, Jim, this Saturday here in Myrtle Beach, we've got Manny Fernandez, the Raging Bull, Tommy Wildfire Rich, and the Universal Heartthrob Austin Idol, all in a big Halloween event. What do you think about those three guys?
Here's what I think. I think Austin Idol is a tremendous wrestler, but seriously, Scotty, he would be about the last person I would pick to be a special guest referee. Seriously.
That's right. If you caught Jim had Austin on his show a few weeks ago. It's funny because I asked somebody this morning, I said, what, is everything good to go, with our referees for this event? And they said, yeah, Austin, Austin's going to be a special referee. And I said, well, yeah, but Austin's not going to he's not going to ref all the matches. Make sure we've got some guys ready to roll here, so which we do, by the way. But Austin, the special guest referee, anything is going to happen and probably will this Saturday here in Myrtle Beach.
That's the thing. Austin Idol, in his private life and in his wrestling life, is always all about business.
Correct.
And so the question is what is Austin Idol's business going to be in Myrtle Beach? And it's like, part of me is like, Austin Idol, the businessman, is like just going to call it down the middle because he doesn't want to get his hands dirty, or Austin Idol, the businessman, has some sort of business arrangement And it's really too hard to call. Like I said, I think you couldn't find a worse referee than Austin Idol. To be honest.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get there early and see if I can look under the ring just to see if there's anybody under there.
Good luck.
All right, thanks for subscribing, thanks for following, thanks for watching. We'll see you again next week